Hi, this is Matt Hayden with Clippa and WeHangChristmasLights.com. I want to welcome you to the estimating app tutorial. First of all, what you'll need in order to get set up on this estimating app, if you haven't already, you'll need a Gmail email address. So if you don't have one already, please set one up and email that information to admin@WeHangChristmasLights.com, and then we will go ahead and add you in the system and you will receive an invitation to access the app. So once you access the app, you're not going to see all this stuff on this screen. These are estimates I've already done. So you'll come in, this will all be blank. The first thing you need to do is, if you haven't already, is you need to figure out your break even. And I will do another tutorial for that one. There's two different opportunities to figure out your break even. You can figure out your break even using all your expenses, or you can just do a labor only break even. Once you set that up, you're going to take that break even, whatever the end result is, your per minute break even, and you're going to input that in the settings. So let's go ahead and get started. Once you come in the app, you're going to click on the hamburger menu up here. Okay, it's going to pull up this screen. You're going to go to your settings is the first spot you want to go to. You'll see that I already have my settings in here. Once you come in, there won't be anything in here. You're going to click the little add button down here, and it's going to pull up this screen, which is completely blank. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of here because you cannot set up more than one settings. So I'm going to click in here and edit the one I currently have. You're going to want to go ahead, right here you can see you cannot have more than one settings. If you're trying to add settings for a new company, please contact us. First of all, you want to put your company name. This information will show up in the estimate that goes out to the customer. You do have the ability to, all the numbers you put in the system, send an estimate to the customer or send it to your sales office, however you want to handle that. You can see that these are mandatory fields right here. So you do want to fill this out with your company address, the phone number. This is optional, cell phone. This is defaulted in there based on the Gmail address you use to log into this account, so you can't change that. You could put a sales email in here, salesperson. And then here's where you're going to put your break even. You can see I got 1.25 in there currently. And then how many number of crew members you're going to be using. You can adjust this at any time. This number is not too important when it pertains to the numbers you're calculating. Where this is going to come into play is going to come into play with how long a job is going to take you. I want you to keep in mind those numbers when we tell you how long a job is going to take you. It's just a guesstimate. You can't use that number and run with it because everybody works at different speeds. Okay, so I'm going to have it stick with 2 crew members. Terms and conditions. This is something you want to add in there. This is again going to populate over to the estimate that is sent to the customer. So you want to make sure you really make sure that this is updated and it's covering everything you want the customer to know. We do have examples of this. If you want to use those in your estimate, you can. So you're just going to copy and paste that in there or type it in yourself. Okay. And then I'm going to scroll down. This is a default markup. Okay. The app on each section is going to give you a it's going to give you your break even, meaning if you go out in this job, it's going to tell you what it is for you to break even. This markup is going to be defaulted into each section, so you can go in there and you can actually mark it up or down within each section if you want. This is just the default that's going to be in there in the beginning, so put something in here. Labor tax rate, you decide whether you want to charge tax on labor. That's up to you. And then product tax rate. The way we train in our trainings, we actually train you to lease the products. So this is not something you would charge tax on. We don't input this in our system, so I just leave it at 0. You have the ability to upload a logo. And again, this will translate over to the estimate that goes out to the customer. So you can just click this. This works on an iPhone. It'll work on Android. So you can just click this, and what it'll do is allow you to upload a photo, however you want to do that. Okay. I'm going to click Save once I have my settings in there. And anytime I want to come back in here, if I want to edit it, just go to the hamburger menu, Settings, click on my company, and then I can edit it just by clicking this button right here. Scroll through, whatever I want to change. If I want to change the address, I can change the address, and so on and so forth. My break even, maybe I want to go back and change my break even. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is go back to the hamburger menu, and you're going to want to input all your lights and garland. Okay, so this is right here. This does take some time initially to set up because you have to input all the information that you want to put for lights and garland plus the costs of those products. So once I go in here, you can already see I have a few in here that I've been rolling with. So I'm going to go ahead and set up a new one. When you come in here, this will be completely blank. And again, this does take some time initially, but not too bad. So I'm going to click on here to add a new one. So type of lights we're using. We're just going to type in, let's just do mini lights. And then I'm going to put 4-inch spacing. And I'll just do some abbreviations so not make it too long. 4-inch spacing. The customer will never see this. This is only for you, so you know which ones you're selecting. Mini lights, 4-inch spacing, and then I'm going to put, we'll just put blue on here. Okay. I know all my strands are 24 feet, the ones I buy. So what I'm going to do, is this a strand or is it not? So the difference, can I cut this or can I not? So with this one, mini lights, this is a strand. So I'm going to click yes. If it was a bulk spool, and I'll go ahead and set up one of those as well next, and I'll show you how that works. If it was a bulk spool, I would click no because it's not a strand. I can cut a bulk spool to any length I want. Then the strand length in feet, mine are 24 feet. And then what is my price of that strand? What we typically tell you, if my price is $10, I'm just going to use a nice easy round number. If my price is $10 on this, what we'd like to tell you is you up it by 10 to 15%. So on this case, we're going to do, let's say 15%. So I'm going to add $1.50 to this strand, and I'm going to put this at $11.50. So what that's going to do is when we decorate a house or a tree or whatever, if I'm using 10 strands, it's going to take 10 strands and multiply it times $11.50, and that's what we're going to charge the customer. The reason we up it 10 to 15%, and you can do it up more if you want or less, is because we don't, within the app, we don't compensate for timers, clips, and stuff like that. So there's the shipping to you for the lights. There's other stuff that are associated, other costs that are associated with this that we don't compensate for. So that's why we like to up it a little bit, about 10 to 15%. So I'm going to click save here. Okay, so you can see my mini lights 4-inch spacing, blue is right there. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add a bulk spool and show you how that one's done. Type of lights. Let's just do bulk spool. We get ours in 1,000 feet, but what I'm going to put is bulk spool. What is the spacing? So I'm going to do 15-inch spacing is what we use. And then I'm going to put, let's just do orange bulbs. I think I already have a warm white in there, so I'm just going to use orange bulbs. 15-inch spacing, maybe put SPT1. If you're using SPT1 or 2, you're going to want to put that in the description, just so you know. If that's all you use SPT1, then you don't need to worry about that so much. Okay. So is this a strand? This is not a strand because I can cut it the length. I'm going to put no, and then I'm going to put 1 foot because that's going to calculate based on my cost per foot for this bulk spool, 15-inch spacing. I'm going to use nice, easy round numbers. And I'm going to say my bulb is $1. Let's say my bulb, I got that for $1. And then I got my, let's say my light line per foot. If I'm using a 1,000-foot spool, they typically run anywhere from $189 up to $200. So I'm just going to call it, it's 20 cents per foot. Just a nice, easy number. And we're going to call my bulk spool with the bulb, with a orange bulb in it, is $1.20, and I'm going to take that again and up it times, I'm going to put it at 10%. So that's going to add 12 cents to it. So we're going to put it up to 1.32. And now that's going to charge the customer per foot. If I'm doing a 100-foot light line on a roof line, let's say I'm decorating 100 feet, that's 1.32 times 100 feet. So that's going to come out to $132 that I'm going to charge the customer. Okay, I'm going to click save. And then you can see the bulk spool, 15, orange, SPT1. And you can come back and edit these anytime. If you want to change the description, you just click on it and you click there and you can edit. Actually, I'm sorry, you can't edit the description. So if you want to completely change this, you can change the price. Maybe you want to up it a little bit, year from year it changes. So you really want to make sure that you get the description in there properly. Worst case scenario, what you can do is you can actually just go back here. If you just decided that, oh, I want to change this description completely, you click here, and then I can easily delete that one right here. Just hit that and delete. It'll delete it out, and then I can create a new one. Okay. I'm going to close out of this because I don't want to delete it. So right there, you can see that didn't take very long to set those up. It's just very important to make sure that you are designating it as a strand or a spool light line. If it's a light line, it's only going to put one here. If it's an actual strand, you need to put the length of the strand that you're using here. Okay. So very good. So once we have all information in there from the hamburger menu, you've got your garland, wreath. Here's lit garland right here. This is just one I set up. So this is a strand because I'm not going to cut it. It's a 9-foot garland. My price is $80. Let's say it was maybe $70 plus 10%. That would be at $77. So I'll just put that at 77. This is all just for examples. Okay, and there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click into estimates. This is where you're going to start doing your estimates. So you can see right here, I've already got a few going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start a new one from scratch. There's a couple different ways you can add a customer. I can go up to the hamburger menu right here, and I can click on customers, and I can add a new. Here's all my customers right here. I can always delete. If I want to delete a customer, I can always delete them directly from here. But I'm going to go and exit out that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the plus sign, and I'm going to add a customer. I'm going to put John Smith in here. Okay. This is the only required field for John Smith. If I want to, I can go back and add this stuff later. If I put a customer email in here, just remember, if I don't, remember I can't email an estimate to him without a customer email. It will just go off into the cloud. It won't go anywhere really. Okay. Status, we'll get to that in a little bit. Discount, I'll get back to this stuff and talk to you about it later. So if you want, just real quickly to add a customer in there, all you need to do is put their name, click save, and there's John Smith. He's in pending status. They'll always be in pending status when they first come into it. I'm going to click on estimates. Okay, we have nothing for John Smith yet because we haven't created an estimate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go click here. This is the second place that I can actually add a customer if I want to. If I get in here and I forgot to add John Smith, I can actually just click right here and it'll allow me to go ahead and add a customer. Customer name, same thing, save, and then go out of there. But I'm going to cancel out because we've already got John Smith. Let me go back here so you know where I'm starting. So this is back in estimates. Click on the plus sign. Customers. I'm going to go and select John Smith. The first section we're going to do is roofline because that's typically what we'll do on houses. So I'm going to go ahead. You can see we have all these different categories: archways, arbors, balconies, fence lines, bushes, columns, pillars, palm trees, ridges, roof lines, windows, wreaths, tree inside wrap, tree outside wrap, yard art, oops, sorry about that, move that down, and so on and so forth. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select roof lines for this one. Okay, so we're going to start with roof lines. If you've been in the training, which most of you have, you should have been through the training if you have access to the app. We have difficulty levels that we talked about in the training. So difficulty level 1, it's going to be something that's fairly simple to get to. Lower roof line, can easily get up there with the ladder or get on the roof. Difficulty level 2, a little bit more difficult. Maybe something's in the way where it's hard to get the ladder there. Maybe it's a dormer window that's set back. Difficulty level 2, difficulty level 3, and difficulty level 4. Okay. So right now, what I'm going to say is we're going to go ahead and do, and this is how much you're decorating each level. So let's say we're doing 100 feet of difficulty level 1, and I'm just going to leave it at that for now. And we'll come back and we'll go ahead and do something. We'll put 100 feet in here for level 2, so you can see the difference in price that we're charging. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. Once we get down here, we got staples needed, yes or no. That's going to add a percentage to what you're charging the customer. So if you've ever done an install and you've had to use staples, you understand it's very difficult to use staples. It takes a long time. Plus, you got to take all those staples out, and it's pretty much ladder work the whole time. So you determine yes or no if I'm using staples, and I'll go back up here and I'll show you how it adds adds a little bit to the price. Special conditions are anything we have to deal with. Any special conditions that we're working with, that could be weather. You can add a percentage here. You put yes, and then you put, oh, you know what, this is going to be, I'm working in the snow or whatever. If you think that you need to add that in, you can put a special condition in here for whatever percentage you want, 10% or whatever. For now, I'm just going to click no. We don't have any special conditions. Description. This is a description you can type. Decorate customers front roof line. And you can put whatever you want in this description. My typing was better. Sorry about because this will translate over to the estimate as well. So the customer will see this. So if you want to make sure you and your customer are on the same page, you're going to want to type in a pretty extensive description here so the customer knows exactly what you're decorating. Okay. Snap a photo if you would like. This will also be on the estimate. So if you want to snap a photo, you just click on this. It'll pop up your camera on your phone, and then you'll have the ability to snap a photo. This is on my computer, so what pops up is just a window for me to upload it. But if this is on my phone, it would pop up my camera and I could take a photo. Now here's my default markup we talked about. This is the default that's in the system. I can change this within this. It's always going to be defaulted to 100 because that's what I have in my settings. I can change this to 125% if I want to, or whatever I decide I want to. Okay. You can see here's my break even. This is not what you're charging the customer. This is what this job is going to take. This is what it's going to cost me to go out there. Okay. You may look at this and be like, wow, that's kind of high or that's kind of low, whatever. Mainly you're going to say it's kind of high, I'm sure. But you got to remember that you have to go out there twice. You've got to go up and install this, and then you have to go take down. So that's something we've incorporated into this app. So we ensure that we're charging enough. Okay. If you think it's too high or too low, you can always go up higher, 150. This is your labor charge. You can see it's taking $93.75 times 150%, and it's charging $234.38 just for labor. Okay. I'm going to go and scroll down. We're going to select some lights. This is from our settings that we set up. So I'm going to go and select lights. Let's go and select one of the ones on Roofline. We're probably going to do a bulk spool, orange bulbs. Pretty ugly. Maybe it's Halloween. SPT1 light line. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And what that's going to do, it's going to take my 100 feet and multiply it times the 1.32 that we're charging the customer. And it's going to charge the customer $132 for just the lights. We're going to go and scroll down here. And you're going to see total cost $366.38. This is not something you're going to be showing the customer. The customer does not want to see that you're marking them up 100% or 150%. So you are not sharing this with the customer. This is for your eyes only. Okay, so my total cost for this section is $366.38, 150 minutes. And again, this is an estimate. You can't take this and run with it. Don't call me and say, Matt, you said it was going to be 150 minutes. You got to remember, people work at different speeds. One person may take get 3 trees done an hour, where the other person gets 1 an hour. So this is not a perfect science. And then what it's going to do down here, based on how many people I have in the system, it's going to, as far as how many workers I'm using, it's going to divide it by that number. So you can see I had 2 workers in there. It says it's going to take us 75 minutes to do this job. It's not going to take me that long, Matt. Remember, you have to install it, and then you have to go back out there and take it down. There's drive time. There's all sorts of factors that come into play. So again, this is not a perfect science. So don't run with this and be like, well, it took me a little bit longer or less. I'm going to click save on this one. Actually, I'm going to go up and I want to change a few things here. So maybe the customer, oh, that's a little bit high. Maybe you want to drop this down a little bit. This will only adjust your labor cost, $210.94, and then my total cost, $342.94. I'm going to scroll up and I'm going to show you. So here's our break even, $93.75. I'm going to go ahead and click staples. Yes, we have staples. Scroll back down and you can see that there's a system. There's a formula in the back end that added a percentage to this to up for that. So that is going to be, yes, it does take a lot of work to do staples. Special conditions. Maybe we want to add a special condition. I'm going to add, we've already got 10% in there. So maybe I'm going to take that out. Maybe I won't do it. There's no special conditions. Okay, we're going to put no. And you can see the adjustment here. 140.63. Special conditions, yes, we'll put 10%. And then you can see it goes up to 150. Okay. If that calculated correctly. I'll have to look and make sure that calculated 10% on there. All right, so special conditions, no. We've got all our description in here. We've got everything we need in here. Maybe we decide this is a level 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put 100 feet of level 2 in here. And then you will see that my break even actually goes up higher. So that's 210.94 for my break even. And we'll take that out, 210.94. I'm going to put 100 in here. For 100 feet of difficulty level 1, you've got 140.63. Okay. So you can see it adds a substantial amount to a difficulty level 2 because it's a lot harder. We may have to get on the roof. There might be some other factors we have to deal with. I'm going to go ahead and leave that right there. We've got this set up. I'm going to click Save. Okay, so now we've got our customer. We've got John Smith right here. Here's our customer. These are my estimates. I click on John Smith, and you can see I only have roof lines. Let me go ahead and show you somebody that we have a lot of stuff in. I think Chip, we might have a lot of stuff in there. So you can see Chip, we have several stuff. We did archways and arbors, balconies, fence lines, all this stuff that we added to it. If you want to see a summary of what we're looking at, I can always click here. You can see Beatrice, her total. This is all the sections I've done. This is an easy way to delete a section if you would like to. So the customer Chip, down here, he's talking, well, it's a little bit pricey. It's, well, let's not do the archways. Okay, perfect, Chip. I agree. Let's go ahead and click here, archways, arbors. Click in that section and then delete. Are you sure you want to delete? And I'm going to click delete. And that will go ahead and take Chip down to where Chip, let me see if that adjusted there. Let's see, did I drop? I'm going to try a different one just to make sure. Ridges, let's say we're going to take ridges off, 3855. I'm going to edit this. Ridges, delete. Yes, it's dropping it down. Okay, wasn't sure. I didn't see the number before. So anyway, that easily drops it down. That fits within Chip's budget. Okay, let's go ahead and do it. You can see down here, I have two different roof lines. You do have that ability. Maybe there's the main roof line you're doing on the house, and then maybe there's a secondary house that you want to break out and do it different. Maybe they're like, oh, you know what? Let's not do the secondary house, the outhouse, the guest house. Okay, that's fine. No problem. We'll take that off. And that will drop your price down a little bit. That will drop you down to $36.01. Is that more in your budget there, Chip? Perfect. Let's move forward. Okay, so that's the summary section right there. And that just gives you a guide on what is the total and then what sections am I doing for that individual. Estimates is just here's my simple estimates. I can click into each of them. And you can see Beatrice, these are my sections. If I want to edit any of these, I have the ability to do that right here. So there's several opportunities for you to edit, delete any of the estimates you want to delete. Status, this is another section over here that you can look, and this just gives you an opportunity to see where they at. Sold, pending. You have three different statuses, sold, pending, and lost. Right now we don't have any lost yet. If I wanted to, what I can do is I can click in the Chip here, and I can edit Chip, and I can move him to the lost stage. Click Save. Go back to my estimates here, and you can see Chip's in the lost stage. Little thumbs down because we lost it. But we're going to put Chip back in. Well, we'll just leave Chip there. It's a big one to lose. So anyway, this just gives you the ability to see what's going on here as far as pending, sold, and lost. Okay. I'm going to go back to my estimates. We're going to go ahead and add some more to John Smith. I'm going to click on John Smith here. We're going to add another section. Go to John Smith. I'm going to click here and let's go ahead and do some bushes on here. Talk about bushes because there's several questions about bushes and how that works. So the bushes in a training, what we do is we teach you to measure the surface area of all sides. If you got a square bush, you're going to measure the surface area. That's length times width. And then you're going to add up all the sides for that bush. There's a couple different ways you can do this. If you have several bushes, 4 bushes that are all the same, you can either lump those in or you can put those in individually. Let's say we have one bush is 48 surface area, 48 feet. Okay. If I just click there and then click out of it, you can see another bush area pops up. Okay. I can put 48 there and then another one's going to pop up. So these will just keep popping up if you want to enter them. Or I can take, if we have the 4 bushes that are all the same, I could just take 48 and just use 48 times 4 is 192. So I could just put that into one section if I want and just take that out and just have one bush area if that's how we want to do it. Okay. I'm going to scroll down here, special conditions. You're going to see special conditions, description, and photo in every single section. So you just have the ability, and this does add a percentage to you have the ability to add a percentage right here. You can manually do it. And then you're going to see description in every single section. Describe what you're doing. This is going to show up in the estimate that goes to the customer. So you want to be as detailed as possible. Decorating 4 bushes in the front yard with warm white mini lights, whatever you decide on. Photo, take a photo of those bushes if you want. So the customer knows exactly what you're doing. I've had incidences where we decorated the wrong tree because I wasn't on the job, so they did the wrong tree. we had to redo the other tree, or we had to do the other tree is what we had to do. Default markup, same thing. My break even, my labor charge. We're going to go select what lights we're going to use. On this one, we're going to use the mini lights, 4-inch spacing reds that we put in there. Click on that one. You can see I have 624 feet. And you may say, that's a lot. I mean, 192 up to 624 feet. Bushes use a lot of lights. And when you're doing the S patterns we talked about, this is not going to be a perfect science here because you might go closer or you might go further apart when you're doing your S patterns. So this is just a rough estimate based on our formulas that we've done in the past. We've done a lot of testing on this. We've decorated a lot of bushes, and it's pretty close. Comes out to be pretty close to the number that we're shooting for here. So 624 based on my numbers, that would be 26 light strands that I'm using. Okay. Here's your lights charge, $286, and then your total cost, $416, 104 minutes, 52 minutes per crew to decorate that. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and click save on this. There's nothing else I want to add to that. So now you can see we got bushes, roof lines. If I want to go to the summary, I can see that we have, let me scroll down here. Got John Smith. Here's our summary. Total is $864.42. Roof lines and bushes. Okay. The other section I'm going to go ahead and add another section to John Smith. And we're going to go in here and I'm going to do a tree inside wrap. Okay, so within tree inside wrap, we talked about this in training. This is going to ask you for several different data that you need to, several different things that you need to calculate. You need to measure. This is something we taught you in training. The trunk heights. First of all, we're going to start with the trunk. This is the trunk data. Okay, trunk height in feet. Okay, so let's say we're decorating, it's 8 feet in height. What is my spacing in inches? This is not light line spacing. This is vertical spacing. How far apart am I decorating these strands when I'm going up the tree? Typically, we'll go about 6 to 8 inches. We're just going to go with 6 inches on this one. And the average circumference. If it's just a straight up and down tree, like a palm tree or most trees, where the circumference is about the same throughout the whole tree, if you have a tree where the trunk is just really funky and it's a lot bigger in certain areas and a lot smaller in certain areas, you're going to take the average. You're not going to take the smaller circumference, 12 inches, and then the bigger one, 24. You're going to use the average of those two, and you're going to have to just eyeball and make sure or measure it, the average circumference. So let's just say it's a 16-inch circumference here. And how many trunks do we have? Maybe there's 2 trunks that split off. For this purpose, we're just going to do 1 trunk. So we're just going to leave that at 1. Maybe there's 2 that split off or 3 that split off that we're decorating. So we're just going to leave it at 1 for now. So now here's your branch wrap data. What is the tree height? The wrap height that we're decorating? When you're talking to the customer, you're going to say, okay, what limbs are we doing? We're going to do that one, that one, that one. And we're going to go out, let's go out 6 feet on each of them. You want to make sure you're going out the same distance on all of them because you want the tree to look symmetrical. You don't want to go out 4 feet on one and 7 feet on the other because then it's not going to look symmetrical. Branch spacing. Typically on branches, your wrap is going to be a little bit closer. So on this, I'm going to put 4-inch spacing on this. Larger circumference in inches. There's going to be several trees you're not going to be able to get up there. So you've got to eyeball it and make sure you don't take the biggest, limb. Not the biggest. Again, this goes back to average. So if you have several limbs that are very big and then some are really small, you want to take the average. If you can't measure it, you're going to have to get good at eyeballing and come up with that. I would go out and test that. Test your, see what your guesstimates are, and just walk up to a tree, say, oh, that's about 24-inch circumference. Measure it and see how close you are. You'll be surprised how hard that is to measure that. But if you get good at it, it won't be a problem. Larger circumference in inches, we're going to go and put 12 inches here. And then how many of those are we decorating? When we talked to the customer, we talked about, oh yeah, let's go ahead and do the main ones. There's 24 branches, but we're just going to do the main 6 that are on the outside of the canopy. So we're just going to do 6 of those. And again, any special conditions, description. This is important on this type. Decorate this tree. We're going out 6 feet. all that stuff. Again, the customer will not see this information. So that's where you do want to include it in your description on what you're doing. I've had several times that we've gone out there and the customer's like, that's not what we talked about. If we would have just had more of a description and maybe some photos, we wouldn't have had that problem. Here's my markup, 125, and my total break even, 64.67. Labor charge, 145. What type of lights are we using? Let's just go ahead and select the warm whites, 6-inch spacing. 24 feet. I put 24 feet in my description too, so I know how long that is. If you use all 24 footers, which is what we do, then you don't have to worry about putting that 24 feet in there. You just know that all your strands are 24 feet. We've had some where they're 50 feet. I don't recommend it, but that's up to you. Total feet, 155.20. Light charge, 76.93. Total cost, 222.44. Minutes and total minutes per crew. I click save. And there we go. We've got our tree inside wrap, we've got our roof lines, and we've got our bushes. Go back to the main section here, estimates. And we got status. We know where we're at with status. Estimates. And summary. Okay. So you do have the ability to go in, if you go to summary, any of these sections. If I want to click on my customer, John Smith, I can click in here. Here's where you have the ability to go ahead and send it out. If you want to send it to the customer, it won't go unless you have a customer. So if I send this right now, it'll do something. It'll do a little trickery down here and sync, but it's not going anywhere because I don't have any information under customer's email address. So that just kind of goes off to nowhere. Send to the office. This is going to go to your Gmail account. I'm trying to get this set up where it'll go to Gmail and your sales email address. So that's something we're working on. But we hope to get that up before the season. Okay, so if I want to do that, just click here. And what that's going to do is that's going to go ahead and send it off to my Gmail account address. You can see down here, it's going to sync. It syncs on its own. You don't really need to press this. As you can see right now, it's syncing. There's nothing I need to do. All that's doing is it's communicating with the back end because all this information is stored on the back end. So it's available for you anytime. Okay, so here's my estimates, and I can just go in here, and John Smith wants to go ahead and move forward. That's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and go to here, John Smith, click on him. I'm going to edit John Smith. Yay, let's go ahead and do it. Sold. Save. And there you go. Let's go to status, and John Smith is in my sold category. This app can be shared with multiple people. So if you are in the office, and your sales rep is out in the field, you can access this and see the real-time information as long as you're logging into the same Gmail account. So you've got to decide whether you want to share an app. There is an added expense if you want to have, there's an extra charge if you want to add a second app, a separate one to this. So you can call us for details on that. Another feature we do have in here, I'm going to go and click my hamburger menu. We've got our map. So I can click on the map here. This is going to show me, as long as I have an address in these customers, and as you saw, I didn't have an address for a few of the customers. This is going to show me all the different customers. Right now, I only have addresses for 2 of them. I can click on here, and it'll show me exactly where we're going. Oh, okay, we're going there. These 2 obviously have the same address, but I can go update this. Let's go back and update one real quick here. I click on John Smith. Oops, I'm going to go back to customers. John Smith. Let's go ahead and put, let's edit John Smith. And I'm going to put his address in here. Let's just do 2055. Let's just do this. And that automatically loads in my customer's information here, customer's email. And then I'm going to click save. And with that, once it syncs, that should, let's see if it's actually in there already. Map. Might need to sync first. Let's see. Click on map. Let's click out of it real quick. Yeah, I may need more details in there because I don't see that it's showing up on here. So anyway, something I'll look into. I mean, it should show up on here that John Smith is showing there. Let me just make sure I have all his information in there. Yeah, got in there. So I'll take a look at that and see what's going on. So anyway, you're going to have the map, the ability to have the map where you can click on it. You know, maybe if you you click on here and your people in the field need to get to this address, you can click here, and then it's going to ask you to get directions. That'll open up whatever you have on your phone. It will open up the directions and guide them to this spot. So anyway, that's the basics of estimating app. I'm not going to go through every single section. If you have any individual questions or any questions about how to get set up or problems getting set up, you can email me at matt@wehangchristmaslights.com, or you can contact me at 949-945-5530. Hope you enjoyed the Estimating App 101, and I look forward to speaking to you. Take care.